Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
How we doing?
You're looking good for the Dodgers, Skip.
You go last night?
I went.
You went? You jinxed them? You
made
get a
me.
number on them. Way to go. Just as long as you don't attend any Cowboy games this year, I will be just fine.
Well, they were down 2-1 before I even went to a game.
Oh,
so
really?
who jinxed them?
Well, you did.
Look at
Way
you
to go.
getting out and seeing a game,
You
Shannon.
know that?
That's a big deal for
So
you.
I'm feeling good, Skip. Feeling good. Something bad about to happen.
Something bad about to happen? Oh, okay. Interesting. Guys, we got a lot to talk about today, including more of the drama surrounding Ben Simmons. After throwing Simmons out of practice Tuesday, Doc Rivers admitted that the drama took away the fun of opening day, but the Sixers apparently had a team dinner in New Orleans that cut some of the tension surrounding the team. And Philly responded well, blowing out the Pelicans 117-97 last night. So, Shannon, will Simmons ever play for the Sixers again?
I don't believe he will, Skip. But the better question is, Skip, is that what are you holding on to him for? I think he's voiced his opinion to you. He's told Doc to his face. He's told upper management to their face that he wants to be out of Philly. And it does not matter where you trade him. I just no longer wants to play here. But, Skip, can I ask you a question? There's a saying said the elephant in the room. Well, how do we get the elephant out of the room if the elephant isn't in the room to get addressed? The guy that you seem to be causing the tension isn't there for the dinner. I can see if Ben Simmons was there and we had a meeting, Skip, we could get together like, hey, we're going to break.
About the team, bonding dinner in New Orleans before last night. Yeah.
Don't you need the guy that's generating a lot of the tension, the majority of the tension? Don't you need to have him there? So what happens? Okay, you had this lovely dinner, had some wine, and you talked about how good, because it seems you played very well, Skip. You had 4 guys have at least 20 points, 6 total guys in double figure, and you blew the Pelicans out, which is not a surprise. David Griffin, guess what? Miss Benson, coaches are not going to be the only thing that's getting fired. But Skip, what happens when you go back? They say they're not going to have practice today. So what happens tomorrow? When they open up with the Nets and, okay, Ben, is Ben going to play or is he not going to play? You say, Ben, get in the ball game. Ben said, nah, I'm good over here sitting on the sideline. Then what? What good is that dinner? I get it. I've never really been in a situation like this or had a teammate that was so disgruntled about being there that he caused this kind of conflict. I was in a very similar situation to Ben, Skip, because my 4th year, Mike's second year there, Skip. Mike Shanahan. They tried to trade me. Now, mind you, Skip, I had gone to 4 straight Pro Bowls, led the team in receiving 4 straight times. I was an all-pro. He tried to trade me to the Arizona Cardinals along with Mike Pritchard in the first rounder for Eric Swan. Now, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute.
Eric Swan, by the way, a disruptive pass rusher.
Defensive tackle, about 335 pounds, who was coming into his own. He was an all-pro also. But my thing was, Skip, like, hold on. So you're saying you got a better chance of reaching the ultimate goal, which is winning championships, without me.
But did you go home? Did you pout? Did you quit?
Skip, this was the offseason. I came into Mike's office. The first day back, I went to his office. I said, Mike, I'm not upset that you tried to trade me. I'm upset that you tried to make the team better and you thought you could do it without me. Now, I'm going to show you I'm the best tight end in football. Skip, I came in, did what I had to do.
And then what happened?
We won the Super Bowl next year.
Thank you.
But Skip,
were you traded? No.
But Skip, remember how I told you, Skip? I would not have handled it like Ben. See, I'm dealing from firsthand experience, and everybody, you don't know what you would do in that situation. But I've been in
Who says that? Twitter?
Yeah, but Skip, you know how people live. And a lot of times what I try to do is, like, when I analyze a situation, Skip, a lot of times I've been in similar situations, or I've been close to situations that appear to be just like what's going on now. So I feel like I'm speaking from a position of knowledge. I don't like the way Ben has handled it. Skip, I believe that he should have been professional. Show up, be in shape, go through it, and just make it clear to Doc and Daryl Morey. Skip, Daryl Morey skating on this. We blame it Doc, but it's Daryl Morey that tried to get the trade, that tried to change James Harden, that I believe started the ball in motion. But he's skating right now. But probably get to him down the road some point. But Skip, for me, I just don't understand. At some point in time, you're going to have to move on from this situation because I don't see it getting any better. How does it get any better? And I've been reading, it says Ben is mentally checked out. It's saying that he feels he needs to go somewhere else where he feels he can make mistakes and not not have people critical of him within the organization. So that tells me Ben ain't got nothing else to do with you guys, Philly. Philly, just go ahead and move him before it gets even worse. And then, I don't see it getting better. I see it getting worse if they don't hurry up and get this man out of town.
Okay, so what happened last night in New Orleans was before this game, they had a team bonding dinner.
Right.
And the reason you said, well, the elephant wasn't in the room at the dinner.
Right.
Well, that's why they had the dinner, because it was a celebration that he wasn't there. Because they embraced, and your man Joel Embiid, my man Joel Embiid, was outspoken about it. It was just so good to get out and kind of talk about everything except basketball.
Right.
Because, as Doc pointed out after the game, the players are getting a little sick and tired of being asked about Ben Simmons.
Yes.
What do you always say? That's the biggest problem, is that the rest of the team is left to night after night, no matter what happened out on the floor. What about Ben?
Yeah.
What about Ben? What about Ben?
Yep.
And after a while, it's hell with Ben. I don't want to even talk about him anymore because we didn't do it. He's doing it.
Right.
Although you can suggest that, that Embiid started it also by throwing him under the bus after the game. But really, Ben did it to himself.
Right.
He was the one who shot himself in the foot because he was the one who passed up a dunk that could have put them a point ahead, right? Okay, in Game 7 against Atlanta.
Correct.
All right, so what did they do? They went out against New Orleans, and albeit a New Orleans with no Zion, and you can say they have their own dysfunction going on, but still, I thought Joel Embiid, what did you say at the end of the show yesterday? You predicted he'd go 35 and 13, that he would, or 35 and 15, right?
Yes.
And that he would make some kind of a statement.
Right.
Well, he did. It just happened early in the game. And if we could just quickly see, because I was watching this game, that Embiid just came out and just said, watch this. This is the first 9 minutes of the game. He does that. That's pretty good for a 7-footer. That was actually pretty lucky for a 7-footer, but he comes down the next time, and that wasn't lucky. That's pretty special stuff. And then he goes up and under, and that's unstoppable if you can pull that off. And then, of course, he's making his free throws because he's a 90% free throw shooter. And all of a sudden, I look up, and he scored 12 points in 9 minutes. Well, listen, that is special stuff.
Yes, of course.
That was an early salvo of a statement, albeit against New Orleans, but it was opening night of, and I tweeted about this immediately, hell with you, Ben Simmons. That's what he's basically saying. We're just fine without him. We're going onward and upward without Ben Simmons. So it was so one-sided for a while that Joel didn't even play in the fourth quarter, which actually surprised me because I thought he'd want to pad the average a little bit.
Get cheap points
to get closer to your 35 and 15.
And he definitely would have got it too.
Well, he probably would have, but he ended up with 22 and only 6 rebounds. So the point was, I think Doc is looking down the pike at Friday night at home, come the Nets. Okay? Yeah. I'm going to save Joel for that game.
Right.
And what was happening meantime? Off the bench came Korkmaz, who went uncorked, he just went crazy because he makes 7 of 11 shots and 4 of 4 threes and scores 22 points in only 20 minutes. Right. Well, that was the difference of the game because my man Danny Green had one of those Danny Green nights that you used to despise when he was a Laker because he played almost 19 minutes and he takes one shot and missed it and scored 0 points. But he does play good defense, as you well know. So the point was they make this statement. So the pressure, the ball goes back into the court of Ben Simmons to me. And I think it was fairly significant that they did win this game, albeit against New Orleans. Because if you lose this game, you know what everybody's going to say? Right. Well, leverage advantage Ben Simmons, right?
Why not do it like what the Nets did with Kyrie?
Yep.
Instead of having him, he might play, he might not play.
They just said no.
Just stay away. So guess what now? You're not going to get asked about Kyrie and the vaccination. Okay. If you just tell Ben Simmons to stay away, you don't have to worry about getting asked. Is Ben going to play this week?
I know, but that's what my mother used to call classic cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Okay.
The only way they're going to be able to move Ben Simmons for what he is worth or even approximately what he is worth is if he plays, if he does what Shannon Sharpe says a pro would do. Yeah. Come and play and participate full force. Put your heart back into it because you're going to have to play your way out of town instead of act your way out of town.
No, because if I start playing, that's what Anthony Davis did. Now, Anthony Davis handled it correct. He came in and played, and Dale Dem said, well, man, he enjoyed himself. AD was averaging 29 and 12. He's like, well, he enjoyed himself. I'm not going to move him. That's what you're going to do with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons comes out there, gives you 18, 9, and 9. Y'all not moving him. You're like, we can win a championship with him. So he's like, nah, I ain't giving you none of that. I'm going to give that 18, 9, and 9. I'm going to give that to my new team. Yeah, my new girl going to get the car. She going to get the do bags and everything. Not the old one.
Okay, I believe the Sixers' MO here, I'm going from the top down, from the owner down. I think they're saying if he wants to stay away, he can stay away, but we will keep him on ice. We're not going to move him. We'll just keep him on ice.
You cut your nails off to spite your face.
Okay, well, again, it's better to do it that way than to have to give him away right now. You're asking the Sixers just to say, we give up, we give him away. Who wants him? A dime on a dollar, right? Just what?
30 cents on the dollar. I ain't gonna give him for a dime, but I give you 30. Give me 30 cents on the dollar, you can have it. Well, give me a couple of first-round picks, and let me see what you got. Let me see who's offering, and I can tell you what I want from you in return.
How foolish would you look to give away a young man who's just 25? Has he turned 26? I think he's still 25. Who has made... He was Rookie of the Year. Then he made 3 straight All-Star teams. He made 2 straight first-team All-Defenses.
Yes.
And you're just going to say, okay, we give up, we give him away.
Let me ask you a question. What good is a car doing if you don't drive it? Okay, you got this nice car, but you can't drive it. Ben's not playing for you, so what good is he doing just in your uniform number? Okay, well, Ben Simmons on our roster. Okay, when is he going to play? Well, I don't know. That's up to Ben. Okay. Well, Ben has made it abundantly clear he's not trying to play for you.
Who is Ben Simmons' agent?
Rich Paul.
Rich Paul. Rich Paul represents also LeBron James.
Yes.
Who actually owns and operates Clutch Sports.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. There you go.
So this is a power play by Rich Paul and LeBron James to say, watch this, we will run the organization. We will dictate to the organization what needs to happen.
Well, let me ask you a question. What does the agent do? The agent works at the behest of the player. Rich Paul can offer Ben Simmons advice. Well, Ben, I think you should do this. Well, Ben, I think you should do that. Ben, you should handle it this way. At the end of the day, Ben Simmons paid Rich Paul to represent him. But the final say comes down to Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons has made it clear. I'm sure Rich Paul is Ben, you don't want to give any money back.
Ben Simmons, by the way, just for the record, has 4 more years left on his contract. 4. He's only 1 year into a 5-year deal that pays him $33 million a year.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, this is the classic game of chicken. This is a stare-down contest between, let's go up to Josh Harris, owner of the Sixers.
Right.
There are others involved, but Daryl Morey, you mentioned, that they are locked in right now saying, no, we're going to do it our way, not your way. If you want to come play and re-up your value.
I don't want to.
Okay, well then go sit. That's where we are right now.
Okay, well, I'm going to sit down there.
Because I think they're much more stubborn than Houston ended up being about James Harden. Houston just folded its tent and said, okay, we give up, we give in.
Right.
And where is Houston now?
Because guess
they're
what?
losing to Detroit on opening night.
But the thing was, they didn't have another superstar. I don't think Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris, they got a much better team. They were so James Harden-centric that when he left, he was in shambles. But you saw with the way James was playing, after a while, it got embarrassing. And you said James Harden is not even trying. Do you want to put Ben Simmons out there where he's not even trying? He's not even trying to help you win ball games? Or do you just want to say, Ben, until we find a trading partner, we want you to stay away?
What they're telling Ben is, you must come in and you must perform back to your level, and we will continue in good faith to try to trade you.
No, I can't. I can't do that in good faith after Joel Embiid has said what he said. I can't do that.
How many GMs out there are still wondering whether he's got the free throw shooting demons even still?
He might have them. Ben Simmons might not shoot but 40% for the rest of his career. But at 6'10", he can do a lot of other things that you say, you know what? I don't care if he don't make but 40% of his free throws. He can defend. He can still give me 17, 18 points a game. He can still give me 8, 9 assists a game, and he can still give me 8, 9 rebounds a game. And I would gladly take that off your hand.
Okay. I still say the Sixers are in the power position here, and I know Rich Paul does not want to hear that. But when I looked at what happened last night, They love that Tyrese Maxey. Okay. And he got a chance last night to start a game as the starting point guard virtually in place of Ben. I know they don't match up player-wise because Tyrese Maxey's not 6 feet 10 inches tall. But he shot 8 of 14 last night. He made 2 of 3 threes, and he scored 20 points. And he had 7 rebounds and 5 assists, and he looked like a player to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he Ben Simmons? No.
Yeah, but
are they still pretty great without Ben Simmons?
Yes.
Yep, they are.
And so now, thank you. Now you got Tyrese Maxey to take in for me. Now, can you get me up out of here and let me go somewhere else?
They got a huge asset right now. They got a guy who's made Rookie of the Year, 3 straight All-Star teams, and 2 straight first team. No, I'm just being smart is what I'm being. That's their asset. They acquired him. They drafted him.
Well, I don't want to be there.
Okay. Well, they're saying, fine, go home and sit.
Okay.
You know, go home and sit. And then whether they're going to pay him or not, I don't know. It's going to come down to fining him.
Yeah, it's going to. Yeah, it's going to. I think that for me, if I'm being, like I said, I'm going to do what James Harden did. I'm going to make it very obvious that I'm really not trying to help you guys win. Yeah. And then you'll get me up out of here, and then I'll go do for someone else what James did for the Brooklyn Nets. Okay. Stare down contest is now in force. And again, if I were Ben Simmons, because you already said this, and you're in the Hall of Fame, you would come back and say, Friday, I'm ready. I'm going to play. Yeah. But if I'm Ben Simmons, I'm going to take no dose. Since you tell me it's going to be a staring contest, I ain't going to sleep. Okay. Well, and so which are you? Are you going to be Shannon Sharpe or Ben Simmons? Yeah, I'm telling you. You already told me that the right way is the Shannon way. Skip. And you're saying he should go the wrong way, which is the Rich Paul way. Skip, no, it seems to me he's already decided the way in which he's going to go about this. I'm telling you how I would have done it. I've made it clear I was going to be professional. I was going to maintain a level of professionalism throughout the entirety of this. That's how I would have handled it. But clearly, Ben has chosen a different path. Rich is probably advising him, says, okay, Ben, this is going to start to cost you money. $372,000 has already incurred almost $2 million in fines. Yep. Okay, Ben. But Ben is like, no, Ben, like they said, he's a very prideful, a very stubborn man. He is. Kind of he's setting his ways. Yep. And so he seems to me have dug his trench here. It says, okay, this is where I want to make my stand. So, to me, it comes down to what happened to Shannon Sharpe. Well, you already laid it out for us that you came back. I did. You participated full force. Yes. Your heart was back in it. Your pride was wounded. Yes. But you said, well, I got a contract. I'm here. Right. I'm going to play. Outcome, Super Bowl champion. So I can make a case if Ben comes back, they're going to win the NBA championship. But had I been a first-round draft pick and had me a good $6-7 million already in my bank account, I might have told Mike, you know what, F you. Really? But I didn't have that. You got to realize, Skip, I had made $63, $73, $200,000. That wasn't no money. Okay. And how many rings did you have at that point? I had 0 rings. 0 rings. 0 rings. Okay. And so if you say F you and you hold out and somehow you end up getting sent to Arizona, maybe you're not in the Hall of Fame right now. You're probably right, Mike. You're probably, there's no question. Arizona had moved on. They even wanted more. And Mike was like, nah, you're asking for too much. And so it ended up working out better. But, Skip, I just came in. It happened. Skip, I mean, it happens. It's like... I'm not unique that's somebody got traded. They traded Joe Montana. So I was like, okay, it happens. I'm not above that. And little did I know the Cowboys were going to release Emmitt Smith, and Bruce Smith ended up playing elsewhere. Skip, it's a part of sports. Guys everybody, professional athletes, a lot of time, think that every experience that happens to them is unique to them. They've never been traded. The organization never wanted to move in a different direction. Bruh, do you understand how long sports has been going on? So the experience that you're experiencing is not unique to you. Skip, that's how I would have handled it. That's how I was raised to do certain things. Everybody doesn't have that same mindset or that mentality. I'm not judging them. That's not how I would have handled it. Clearly, Ben Simmons and Shannon Sharpe, the mindset, we're two different people. He says, I believe this is the best way for me to get up out of here and to go about getting out of here. By the way, Shams reported yesterday that he didn't actually have a cell phone in his pocket of his sweatpants at practice, that he had just folded up his arm sleeve, his practice jersey into a square. It still looked like a cell phone to me, but I don't know, maybe a square, if you could fold it tightly into a square and stick it in your pocket. I mean, I don't know because everybody else got on jersey. You see everybody got their numbers on, and Ben got his Look, he got his hoodie, his cut-off sleeve hoodie on.
Yep.
I mean, Skip, if you go to practice, if I go to practice and, you know, everybody else got their jerseys on and I got my jersey hanging out my pants, Mike gonna be looking at me like, what the hell you
No, he was definitely making a statement of, I don't want to do this.
And look at the walk.
Yep.
That's that F you walk.
No, I got it. Okay. So I still say Sixers will win in the end. I still say Ben will eventually play for the Sixers. I don't know how soon that will happen. Depends how much stubborn pride he has left. But I say the only avenue out of Philadelphia is to go play for the Sixers. So you say never again.
Can't do it.
Okay.
I'm hurt. I'm in my feelings.
Okay. Well, he's definitely in his feelings for the moment. And right now, the Sixers are in their feelings because they're feeling real good.
Yeah, they dug in. Everybody's dug in. At some point in time, Skip, you got to, in order to come together, two people got to move. It can't be 90-10. Somebody moves 90%, the other person moves 10%. We got to meet together in order for this thing to work. And so I don't know what I know his ultimate play is he wants to get out of there. He made that abundantly clear. Sure. And the Sixers' ultimate play is like, nah, we want to keep you, bro.
Okay.
Something got to give.
Maybe he'll wake up and say, you know what? We got a really good team here.
No.
I should probably just do this.
Skip.
They were only the top seed in the East last year.
Sometimes people wake up and they look at their partner and says, I don't want to be married to you anymore. Ben Simmons woke up and says, you know what, Sixers, I don't want to be married to you anymore. And that's okay.
Actually, they woke up and said, we're not sure we want to be married to you because you won't even shoot a free throw. You won't even dare to go to the free throw line anymore.
So, okay. So since we got this pre-dub, let's just take our assets. I got my assets. I'll move on someplace else. You keep your assets and you go on about your business.
Get your assets right out of town.
Yeah, but you got to find another suitor. It doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always happen overnight. You also got to find someone who wants him back, right? We know they're headed for divorce.
Skip just don't want to give him away. That's what Skip don't want to do.
No mercy.
The Texans and Dolphins are reportedly in serious negotiations for Houston quarterback Deshaun Watson. Watson has not appeared in a game this season. The Texans might be budging on their previous high asking price before the NFL's trade deadline on November 2nd. So this is coming up. Shannon, do you see Deshaun going to the Dolphins before the deadline in 12 days now?
I see him. I believe it's going to happen, Skip. I really do. Top 5 quarterbacks, and that's what many regarded him after last season, Skip, as a top 5 quarterback.
No doubt.
And these guys at 25 years of age don't become available often.
Never, ever.
Yeah, you're right. I've never seen a quarterback of this caliber, this proven. Now, Brett Favre became available, but Brett Favre was not what he wasn't. Right, he wasn't Brett Favre yet. So for a guy of this caliber, an All-Pro to become and a Pro Bowl player to become available at this age, unless you got a Mahomes or Justin Herbert, Skip, you're going to be willing to move heaven and earth in order to get him. If Patrick Mahomes became available, the Jacksonville Jaguars would get off of Trevor Lawrence. If he became available, they would get off of Zach Wilson. These guys don't become available. So the opportunity for you to get one, and you have him under contract for the next 4 or 5 years, Skip, I don't know how you pass that up. Now, we don't know what's going to happen on the legal side of it. We don't know what the NFL is going to do with their response for all of this coming out. But the Miami Dolphins says we're willing to whatever happens, we want it to be him to be on our team. And Skip, for you to make a move like this, the owner's already signed off on it. The owner says, I go get it. This ain't no head coach or no general manager. When you're dealing with something like this, Skip, if it was a clean, even if Deshaun Watson was pristine, he had none of this behind him. When you move in with this kind of money, you run it to the owner first. Now, when you're dealing with what Deshaun possibly has going on off the field, you absolutely run it by the owner. And for them to have progressed this far, and John McClain, who's been in Houston for 1,000 years, who's as plugged in as anybody with the Astros, the Texans, or whatever sports team might be in Houston.
Especially the Texans.
John McClain knows about it.
He knows.
Oh, that ain't the John that jumped out the
not the guy.
That ain't him. Okay. I was just
thinking. If it were that John McClain, he wouldn't be reporting on sports.
So for me, Skip, look, I think this is for me. I don't see how the Dolphins not do this deal. And I don't really think it's an indictment of Tua. Is that the mere fact that, Skip, you got a guy that's a top 5 guy last year who had done what he had done. And, Skip, think about what he did last year with no D-Hop and no resemblance of a running game. And he was able to still if I'm not mistaken, he led the league in passing. you got to, Skip, you got to pull the trigger. For lack of a better word, I know it's cliche, but you got to make this happen. And I believe the owner, Stephen Ross, he wants to win, and he believes this guy gives him the best chance of winning.
Yep.
So I believe it's going to happen, Skip. I really do.
In the end, as you well know, in the National Football League, it's all about winning.
Yes. And talent trumps all.
All. Well, in this case, Pro Football Talk has reported that owner Stephen Ross, you referred to, wants his team to acquire Deshaun Watson despite the 22 civil lawsuits accusing him of, obviously, sexual misconduct and assault. Also pointing out that 10 of those accusers have filed criminal complaints against him. Well, you know how I feel about this. I used to be the biggest Deshaun Watson fan back to those 2 games against Alabama for the championship at Clemson.
Correct.
And he nearly won the first one, and he did win the second one. It was kind of all by himself, and I've never seen anything quite like it on the college football stage. And to your point, Pro Football Focus ranked him last year the second best performer in the league with no D-Hop.
Right.
Just extraordinary. Yet, the more I read about all of these lawsuits, the worse it seemed to get. And I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I lost a lot of respect for Deshaun because there's the accusations were some sick stuff. And so it's up to Stephen Ross to sign off on this. It's up to his family to say, yeah, we can live with this, whatever the outcome of this is going to be, and we still don't know the outcome.
It seems like he's already signed off on his Skip.
It sounds like it because winning trumps all.
Yes.
So if they have to keep Deshaun on ice, McClain's first report also pointed out sources close to the situation believe Watson will not be suspended. Well, is that because they're looking at this whole year as a suspension already because he's not been able to play? He still shows up every day for the Texans so he can collect his check. And he works out at the facility by himself. He does attend the meetings, but as you know, he does not dress for the games. So he's there sort of in body only, but not in spirit.
Mentally,
he's checked out.
Mentally, he's not there.
Okay, so where are all these... is it going to become a criminal issue at some point? I don't know. Is he going to go to jail? He could. Will he not be suspended? I don't know. So this is huge ifs, but he is so gifted. And he has performed at such a high level as opposed to Brett Favre in Atlanta, as you pointed out.
Skip, I think the thing is, what Stephen Ross is saying, whatever happens to him, I want it to be on my watch because I know eventually he's going to get an opportunity to come back, as opposed to him getting suspended on somebody.
So I assume they're willing because the Texans were asking for 3 firsts and 2 seconds.
They were never going to get that, even with a pristine resume.
But even if you give the sun and the moon for Deshaun right now, you're just looking to the future saying, hey, if we get him in 2 years from now, I'll take him in 2 years.
And if I'm not mistaken, Skip, they have 2 first-rounders, but the Eagles own the first one, which would be number 2. But they own, if I'm not mistaken, San Francisco's, which would be number 12.
Okay.
So
they've got some firepower.
And so obviously you're going to do you take Tua back in return to have a quarterback, or do you say, you know what, no, y'all keep Tua, and we got the second pick, and we're going to go in the draft? Is there a quarterback that's going to be worthy of the number 2 pick, Skip? Because you're probably going to want, or they're going to want both of those. Skip, and they're not getting 3 1s and 2 2s or all that other stuff. I believe maybe 2 1s, or maybe a first. That second pick looks like what would be the second pick in the draft, and maybe a 2 and a 3.
Okay, I stand by what I told you about Tua before the draft. I know you love him. I like him as a kid. He seems like a great kid. I just don't buy him as a big-time playoff caliber quarterback. He's just too small. He's too fragile. He doesn't have the arm strength. He sucks it up and guts it out. He did okay. I watched the whole Jacksonville game the other day because I was on the treadmill the whole time. But they ended up, as you know, losing to the winless Jaguars in London. And he had spurts where he was okay. He had a QBR of 62. But if you look at his overall body of work, even this year, I know he's been hurt. But if he qualified, he'd be 26th in QBR. And Pro Football Focus ranks him the 23rd best quarterback on just overall grade so far this year. I just don't think he's that guy. And I think after they lost to Jacksonville and fell to 1-5, after some people had them in the playoffs.
Yes. considering how well they played last year, because
Absolutely.
they barely missed. They were 10-6.
10-6 last year. So at 1-5, I'm just guessing Stephen Ross sat back up in his suite in London at Wembley and said, you know what? I've seen enough.
Right.
Like, we just got to plunge on this and just bite the bullet on what's going to happen.
I think a lot of times, Skip, when you make an enormous sum of money, you like winning, you get used to winning.
Yep.
Stephen Ross strikes me as a guy that wants to win. Mm-hmm. All this $6 billion or whatever he's worth, Skip's not doing me any good. I own a franchise, and we're not even coming close to winning.
Nope.
And I believe the reason why we're not close to winning is because, why, Skip? Our quarterback play. I believe if we get a quarterback play, we'll be in play. Because Skip, Josh Allen's not going anywhere for the next decade. So everything else is fluid in that division. I mean, if Deshaun Watson, is he better than Mac Jones? Yeah. If all things equal, hell, I'll take Deshaun Watson over Josh Allen.
Yep. Okay, so we have another James Harden type situation in Houston where it's just you're not going to get enough back.
No.
And now that he's been devalued because of all the cases filed against him, it's going to leave you nowhere. And if you get Tua back, I just don't think you're going anywhere. Is Tua better than Davis Mills? Maybe a little bit, but
a lot.
I don't think it's a lot. I really don't. Davis Mills has had some moments. He's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
But is he a starting quarterback? I don't think so.
Right.
So is Tua going to take you to the promised land in Houston? No.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. With those draft picks, you get an opportunity with your draft picks. If you take the draft picks from Miami, you get an opportunity to start the process of rebuilding your team in order to be a championship caliber team. I think this is the only route that they can go. Deshaun seems to be dug in, even though he's in attendance. He goes to meetings.
Yeah.
He works out. I guess he's running scout team for once he's out there at practice, Skip. But I think he's made up his mind that he no longer wants to be there. They've made up their mind. They will no longer want him there. So the best thing to do is before the trade deadline, which is November 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, is to go ahead and move on.
I read that he's not running anything. I don't even think he's doing scout team, but whatever.
Does he even go out to practice?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
I think he just stays and works out on his own elsewhere in the facility.
Right. Okay.
I think so. He just stays to himself, which is a pretty sad situation.
Right.
By the way, he does have a no-trade clause, so he has to sign off on Miami.
No question. Yes.
But every report is he's good with going to the Dolphins.
Yeah. Because they ain't got no state tax just like Texas, so I need to get my money.
That is correct. And next year, his extension kicks in and he gets to $35 million.
Right.
Okay.
Which is
it's actually a pretty good deal.
It's a very good deal.
Yep, I agree.
Considering where these salaries are going for the quarterback, Skip.
Yep.
Within the next 3 years, they're going to be a $50 million quarterback. Mm-hmm. I don't know is it going to be Kyler? Because you got Lamar Jackson coming up, Skip. I believe he's going to jump Patrick Mahomes 45.
Maybe.
And then Kyler's after him.
Yep.
So you're gonna have Deshaun at $35 million when you got the top guys making $45, $50 million.
Yep.
You're like, I got a pretty good deal.
Well, Brady deserves $50 million.
Ah, man, ain't nobody talking about Brady. He had his opportunity to get this money.
And I know he'll just say, I'll take whatever you give me. I don't care.
He's resentful. He had opportunities like, hold on. I gave all these discounts. I gave you all these discounts.
That was
y'all won't give me no say in no
Well, he gave Tampa a big hometown discount. And
they gave him a bunch of say in Tampa.
And they got back a Super Bowl for it.
Yes.
I don't know how it all works out, guys. We will watch it as the deadline is approaching. But I like this story next. According to Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron doesn't have to win another title to become the GOAT. All the King simply has to do is pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the NBA's all-time leading scorer to go with the 4 championships he's already got. And Shaq said he'll be cemented as, quote, the best player ever. So, Shannon, how much do you believe that getting the record will help convince doubters, someone specifically, that LeBron is the GOAT?
You would be that doubter that Jenny was clearing up.
And I would not be convinced.
I don't know what that was.
Yes. Nothing. I think they're dug in. It's kind of like Cowboy fans, Skip. They can lose. They can go 0-16 for the next 10 years, and the Cowboy fans are going to be there. Whatever camp you're in, I don't believe you leave said camp and go to the other camp. If you're Jordan, you stay in Team Jordan. If you're LeBron, you stay in Team Bron. But for me, Skip, like I said, I already thought he was that. But There have been guys that average 30 points a game, 36. I think James Harden came close. Wilt averaged 40, averaged 50, averaged 44, averaged 38. There have been a lot of guys. There have been a lot of guys that won MVPs. There are a lot of guys that won Finals MVPs. There's only 4 guys in the history of the game in 75 years that said at one point in time, I was the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. George Mikan, Bob Pettit, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has held this record for 40 years. 40. He broke it in 1980, Magic Johnson's rookie year. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was his rookie year. He broke that record. For LeBron to get this record and not really be thought of as a scorer, although he would break this record, and then he have a chance to be top 5 in assists, which would blow people's mind. He has the credentials, Skip. And for Shaq to come around, because Shaq, for the longest time, Shaq was dug in that there was nothing LeBron could do to pass Kobe. Now he said not only would he pass Kobe, he would pole vault what many believe is the GOAT, which is Michael Jordan. 4 rings, 4 Finals MVPs, and to be the all-time leading scorer. For me, I don't think he needs, and Shaq has said it again, Shaq said that he believed that getting this Kareem record would mean more to him than getting ring 5. I think he wants them both. I think LeBron's being greedy. Because I get asked this question, Skip. Which ring do you hold more value in, a Super Bowl ring or a Hall of Fame? I ain't got to answer that question. I got them both. Y'all need to find somebody that don't have one or the other and ask him which would he rather have, because I ain't it. So LeBron James said, why can't I have them both? Why can't I get ring 5 and get that scoring data? I believe that's what's going to happen.
Well, by the way, you wouldn't have the Hall of Fame ring without the Super Bowl rings.
I mean,
they had to come first.
Well, some people get in the Hall with no Super Bowls.
Yeah, but they're transcendent.
Yes. So I would, Skip, I can't answer that because both is such a team accomplishments. Even though, it's my bust, I don't do it without John. I don't do it without TD, without Ed, without Jamal Lewis, without, the guys that I have in Baltimore. So it's such a team, going in the Hall of Fame is such a singular event, Skip, because you're not in the locker room celebrating after you win, after I go into the Hall, I can call people, but Skip, there's nothing like that feeling on the field of winning that Super Bowl. But I agree with Shaq. I believe LeBron, but I always thought LeBron was the GOAT. So I think
wrongly.
And Shaq,
delusional.
If if Shaq Diesel, you said he's the most dominant force. The most dominant force is spoken. PhD Shaq. Chief Shaq.
I cannot express to you how disappointed.
I know you are.
How crushed I was that Shaquille O'Neal made these statements. Because I have such high regard for my man, Shaq.
That's why I know it hurt.
I could not fathom why he would say this.
That ain't true.
I do remind you that the big diesel is also the big kidder.
No, he ain't kidding.
He's often kidding about everything.
He ain't kidding
There's
on this
some
one.
tongue in cheek.
No.
He's got big cheeks with a big tongue. And once it goes into that cheek, man, he can
So you
saying
Shaq bull jiving. He don't mean this. Is that what you saying?
I can't fathom the logic of this from a man with such high basketball IQ as Shaquille O'Neal. And he is pinning everything. He is pinning the entire GOAT argument on leading scorer. And he went so far as to say about himself, me, I want to be the leading scorer in the league because now it ain't no conversation about who's the best ever if you're the leading scorer. Well, yes, there is.
That ain't.
There's huge. And he went on and on about Wilt. And I didn't even know this about him, but he was
gaming for Wilt.
Yeah, he just, his target was Wilt Chamberlain. He didn't quite get there. And he says, because if I would have passed Wilt in scoring, you know me, I would have been, I'm the most dominant ever. I don't want to hear his name no more.
Right.
Okay, and he got close, but not close enough. So he wound up with like 28,500 points, and Wilt had 31,500. Right. So he didn't quite get there because Wilt's individual accomplishments were ridiculous.
Yeah.
They were unfathomable.
If Wilt didn't change the way he plays, Skip, he'd have put the record so far out there, nobody been able to, because his first 7 years, Skip, the numbers.
I mean, they're laughably they're preposterous.
Yes.
Where you just say, I can't even compute those numbers.
Ain't nobody ever going to have a 63-37 ball game or a 34-55 ball game, 34 points, 55 rebounds. His numbers, the rebounding numbers are untouchable.
Okay. Yet in the biggest playoff moments, especially as we got to the finals, Mr. Russell, as in Bill Russell, mostly outplayed Wilt.
No, his team outplayed.
Well, but he did, and he was. What do we give Mr. Russell? Like 6'9", maybe 6'8", 6'9", and Wilt was definitely 7'1". He was known as the Big Dipper.
Yeah.
Okay. So on real achievements, on long-time lasting career achievements, I'm all Bill Russell over Wilt Chamberlain, because I know when the money was on the table, it belonged to Mr. Russell.
Yeah, it belonged to Sam Jones, Casey Jones, Tom Hines, and all those.
Who was the leader? Who was the dominator?
But Shaq is also taking into account that LeBron has more All-NBA than Jordan has seasons played.
Okay.
That matters, right?
Okay. So to me, the scoring title is nothing but a longevity record. Obviously, you have to have the talent. You have to be an all-time great to do it.
Right.
But look at what's happened already. So far, if we just do this is a regular season accomplishment on the scoring title. Well, even now, and LeBron is obviously still going strong in year 19. Well, he's already played 9,081 more minutes than Jordan played, period. End of story.
Yeah.
LeBron has already has played 239 more games than Jordan, and it's counting. It's still going. And he's going to play a whole lot more than 239 more.
Right.
So in the end, if you look at Jordan's real career, it was just 11 full seasons in Chicago. You could go 12, but he got hurt and barely played in his second year because of his leg injury.
Broken foot.
Right? He broke his foot. So he played in his second season. He wound up playing 18 total games, and then when he came back in he took the 2
95
years.
Season.
Yes, it would be the 95 season. He played only 17 games at the end of that year.
Right.
And then, as we know, he went to Washington after 3 years in retirement. He goes to Washington at age 39 and 40, and they were just ceremonial years. He was just having fun with it. He averaged 20 and 6.
So in other words, you saying Tom Brady, all those passing yards and those touchdowns is just a longevity record.
Okay, I'll give you that. Okay. Except he's got 7 Super Bowls.
Hold on, LeBron just won a Super Bowl a title in year 17. So let's not pretend like he's just hanging on.
Okay.
Like he's just averaging 10 points a game, because that's not what he's doing.
Okay. Has Tom Brady ever stunk up a Super Bowl? Has he ever had a terrible performance?
Skip,
has he ever had a shameful performance in a Super Bowl?
If you look at 141 yards, it's nothing to be right. No,
Did
they
he have
won.
a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter? He did against the Rams. Did he have a game-winning drive against Eli in the first Super Bowl? He did, but it got canceled by Belichick's
But here's the thing, Skip. If LeBron James doesn't play well and he hits a game-winning shot, you said he owed that to his team because he stunk it up. Tom Brady plays bad, does a game-winning drive. You say he the GOAT. That's what he does. So how does LeBron win?
Did LeBron stink it up in the 2011 finals?
He did that.
He did for games 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yes.
The chosen one became the frozen one. He melted down.
But that's
on his resume.
Yes, but Brady has had bad playoff games,
but not bad Super Bowls.
Well, the first one leaves a lot to be desired, Skip.
Well, I don't know, a game-winning drive at the end of the.
No, you say that because they won. If they had lost the game and that man threw for 141 yards, you would have creamed him.
Okay, but they didn't lose.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying.
He was extraordinary down the stretch of that game. He completed 5 straight passes, as John Madden up in the TV booth is saying, they got to shut it down. Get this kid out of harm's way.
So what role did Coach Belichick's defense play in shutting down the greatest show on turf?
That one I give you. And then after that, I can't give you any, because I'm not sure what role he played after that.
Well, so what about with the Seattle at the goal line?
Okay, well, that was one kid from nowhere making one play.
Who inserted that kid? Who said, make sure you fight through the top after we run this play over?
I'm pretty sure Matt Patricia inserted him. Well, I'm pretty sure he did.
I don't think that was Coach Belichick.
Yeah, and who put him in the doghouse for the Philadelphia Super Bowl and inexplicably, mysteriously failed to play him a snap in that game? It was Bill Belichick.
But Shaq has spoken.
Okay, Shaq has spoken about a longevity record that I can't get excited for, because It's about durability, and we're starting to see a few cracks in the armor there from LeBron. I'm going to knock on wood.
What cracks you saw? I saw 34 and 11. What cracks?
Well, the first year in L.A. and last year in L.A., he was gone for an extended period.
But the first year in L.A., he was 27, 8, and 8. Only a handful of guys have ever had that resume.
So here's the point. Kareem played 20 total seasons, and he averaged 24.6 points a game.
Right.
Well, just on sheer longevity, what's going to happen? A record is going to happen.
But Skip, let that sink in for a second. The man played 20 years and averaged 24.5 points per game for 20 years.
LeBron has now played 18 total seasons. We're into year 19. He's averaged 27 points. So he's averaged 2.5 more points a game, 27 points a game. So he is right on pace if he plays 2 more fairly full seasons.
About 120 games, averaging 25 points a game.
All right, he'll be right there, and he will pass them, and it will mean nothing to me. It's just sheer longevity. It doesn't matter. Michael Jordan won 10 scoring titles. LeBron has won 1. Case closed, game over. Michael never flamed out in any playoff series. LeBron flamed out against Boston the last series he played the first go-round in Cleveland. He flamed out so badly against the Boston Celtics, his owner accused him publicly of quitting. Whoever accused Michael of quitting?
A lot of people did.
Closed.
A lot of people did. When he walked away from the game, he quit, right?
Oh, stop it. No, he didn't. When he walked away, which time? The first time? Well, he got...
I don't know about that.
He got asked to leave. Anybody in the know knows what happened. He was forced out.
So in other words, any record, so the home run record means nothing. That just means you played a long time. The strikeout record means nothing, just means you played a long time. The goals in soccer means nothing, just means you played a long time. That's all that means. That don't mean you was good. You were great for an extended period of time. That's not what that means. It just means you played a long time. So I'm glad the touchdown record, whomever has the touchdown record or the passing yardage record means nothing. Just means you played a long time.
Give me the single season home run record and you got my attention. That's something of magnitude. Well, I was there watching Barry Bonds night after night see 2 or 3 pitches a night, and whatever he saw in the strike zone, he would hit hard, and it would either hit the wall or carry over the wall. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Yes.
And he was the greatest baseball player I ever saw, but I'm going to pin it on that 1 year in which he shattered the home run record, okay? So I'm going with a record over the longevity of it, but it's much harder to hit home runs than to score points in a basketball game. So if LeBron just stays upright, he's obviously an all-time great, and yet you always say he's not really a scorer. Well, he's just simply the greatest driver of the basketball I've ever seen. He's a below-average three-point shooter, and he's a horrible free-throw shooter. And if he'd just been a decent free-throw shooter, this thing would probably already be over.
Well, you can't have everything. I mean, you can't have everything. Kareem basically shot one shot, the sky hook. Every once in a while, you saw Kareem shoot a face-up. But for the most part, he turned over his left, or he turned over and threw the sky hook. That's what he did, Skip, and you know it.
And so many other flameouts, like that 2015, was it? The second go-around against Miami when the Spurs got even, right? It'd be 2014.
Right. It wasn't no flameout.
Yeah, it was a flameout because the Spurs just blew him off the court by a record finals margin. That's LeBron James?
Yeah.
And you lose in 5 games by a record finals margin?
Yeah, but all he did was average was 28, 7, and 6.
Yeah, I've told you, go back. I dare you to, because I have. Go back and look what happened in the 2 games back in Miami when it was 1-1.
Yeah,
going
they
home.
Got blown out. The Spurs couldn't miss from 3.
And LeBron was a no-show.
Has anybody ever shot the ball like that in the finals the way the Spurs shot it that series?
If you're the GOAT, you just figure that one out.
Well, if you're the GOAT,
stop it.
Well, if you're the GOAT, Jordan should have about 14 finals, 14 championships. If you're the GOAT.
How about 6 in a row with 6 finals?
No. Yeah. I want to know. So what happened before that 6, and then what happened after that 6?
Well, you know what happened.
I know exactly.
His coach got pushed out the back door.
What that got to do with him?
Well, he just said, "You push him out, I'm gone," and he was gone.
So you mean to tell me Michael Jordan had a Hall of Fame coach? He's only had a Hall of Fame coach. He had one in college, had one in the NBA. So which coach that LeBron James had in the NBA that's going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm not sure Phil would have been without Michael and then Shaq and Kobe.
I don't know.
Does that work?
I'm just asking you a question. Name what coach? Name the coach that once he coached LeBron, or the general manager that had something to do with LeBron, does his own thing. How successful is David Griffin going down there right now in New Orleans? How's he doing?
LeBron has been his own coach. I told you I always call him Coach LeBron, GM LeBron.
So you mean to tell me LeBron James is going to play his entire 20-year career and never cross paths with a Hall of Fame coach? How is that possible?
Would you believe that LeBron once had a coach named David Blatt, who in a crucial playoff game as they were teetering against the Bulls, he called the final shot play for Kyrie Irving, and LeBron, to his credit, said, "Stop it. No. I'm going to shoot this shot." Well, that's how much David Blatt didn't think of LeBron James. And you're trying to tell me he's the GOAT?
There are a lot of times that Mike Shanahan called to play for somebody else. I know where John Elway threw the ball.
No.
I know where John Elway threw the ball.
I think there were other options in your offense.
There were. Yeah. But when the rubber
nobody calls Shannon Sharpe the GOAT.
When somebody needed to beat the rope, they just call it big play Shay. We need a big play Shay.
Are you making the case you are the GOAT tight end?
Hello?
No.
Yes.
No.
You need a big play?
No.
Coming right up.
Really?
I call it. Skip, I didn't say nothing about no GOAT. I don't care nothing about that. Gonzalez, I did what I did. All I could do was get the best of my ability, play the best of my ability, and I did what I did. But I'm just saying, when they needed to play, they called me. Now, Shaq has spoken. Now, I don't like to disagree. You up here got me trying to disagree with Shaq, and it's not going to happen.
LeBron James has 4 rings. He has 6 finals losses, and he has 6 more flameouts.
And what did Shaq say? What is that? So how many points Jordan got? Guy just passing him left and right. Just shooting past him.
Minutes played. 10. How do you defend your man when my man won 10 scoring titles and yours won 1?
Yeah, because
it's longevity.
Because my guy had other things to do other than worry about scoring. My guy had to also rebound the basketball. That's why my guy is going to be top 5 in assists, and your guy's not even top 50 in assists.
My guy just said, I can score it better than anybody else, so get out of the way and give me the damn ball. That's what my guy said every single time.
It seems like he's saying that too. And he's going to be able to say that I can score it whenever I want to for 2 decades.
Well, congratulations. I'm knocking on wood for him. I hope he lasts long enough.
He going to last long enough. As a matter of fact, I believe he ain't going to get 40,000.
I thought he was Iron Man. I'm starting to wonder.
Don't worry about it. Now. Even if he ain't Iron Man, he be Superman.
Because, man, he started to give in to the wine and the cigars.
Keep on whatever it is he doing is working.
That's what happened to Jordan in Washington.
No. There wasn't no wine that he was drinking. Your eyes don't get that color with wine, okay? Just putting that out there.
That clear stuff? Okay.
No mercy.
Tom Brady will set another record Sunday when he faces the Bears. The 44-year-old GOAT will take on 22-year-old rookie Justin Fields, and the showdown will set a new NFL record for the largest age gap between starting quarterbacks. Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised are you that Brady is playing at such a high level at age 44?
2.
A 2?
Yeah, I'm giving him a 2.
2?
Yeah.
How can it be a 2?
Because I'm considering the team that he has around him. Do you believe Brady would be playing at this level if he was still in New England?
Whose fault is that?
No, it's not about whose fault. That's not. No, okay, right. Coach Belichick handled this poorly. And Mr. Kraft allowed Coach Belichick to handle this poorly. But the question was, if he had the same level of talent that they had last year and this year, do you believe Brady would be playing at this level? No, you don't.
I would think he would be very good still.
No, but Skip, the guy, hold on. He has 3 Pro Bowl receivers. His third receiver has 900 catches, which is Antonio Brown, who's been a many time first-team All-Pro. He has a 100th anniversary tight end in Rob Gronkowski. He has an offensive line that's easily top 5. So if I take Mahomes, Rodgers, Dak, Herbert, Lamar, Kyler, Matthews, Stafford, and put them in that situation, would they be just as good?
No, absolutely not. He is playing at a supremely high level. Pro Football Focus says through 6 games, Tom Brady has made 1 turnover-worthy throw. Just 1.
But how many turnovers does he have?
Well, you canceled him out. You said, I'm not going to count that one because he tried a Hail Mary at the end of the half, and he threw one to Leonard Fournette that went right off his hands.
People at home, this is what I want you to understand. Think about this. Normally, when a guy turns the football over, they say the quarterback. Tom Brady's the only guy that can turn the football over. Tom Brady got sacked fumble the football.
Okay, we're talking about throws.
But Skip, you say turnover-worthy plays.
Yep.
How does a man getting sacked, fumbling the football, not a turnover-worthy play?
Okay.
I just need
I'll give you that. Well, it's a turnover-worthy play because he lost the football.
But that's not what they said.
Okay. Well, they're doing throws because he is a quarterback.
Okay, so he threw the Hail Mary. Was that turnover-worthy?
Well, you said it wasn't. You said you just throw it up for grabs. It's a 50-50 jump ball.
Skip, I said I understood what he was trying to do, and I admire him for doing that as opposed to taking the check down just to get his completion percentage up, because I see so many guys do that knowing they have no chance of that. But Tom Brady...
Okay, so he consciously tried to throw a turnover-worthy play.
Yeah, he did.
Where it could also go 50-50 for a touchdown, right?
Okay, but this is what Tom Brady is. He's number one in pass attempts. He's 11th in completion percentage. Mm-hmm. He's 12th in yards per attempt.
Yeah. Guess what? He's number one in yards passing. He's the only quarterback in the league over 2,000 yards already.
So let me ask you a question. Who do you think the leading rusher is in the NFL?
I don't care. We're talking about Tom Brady.
Derrick Henry, because he has the most rushing attempts. Okay. Who's the leading receiver in the NFL? The guy that has the most targeted attempts.
Well, it's because they're saying he is so good, I think I'm going to feed that beast, right?
So Tom Brady is Skip.
It's because he's the best. Okay, look at Pro Football Focus right now. I dare you. Your favorite website. Go to it right now and call it up and see grading system so far for quarterbacks in this league through 6 games. Tom Brady is graded number 1 of all those quarterbacks. Number 1.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. They don't tell you how they get to any of these numbers. They just say, well, okay, this is the grade we have. Well, this is what this is. Can we see how you get to this? What are you evaluating? When you come up with a QBR, what do you do? Can we see some of the numbers that you use that go into it?
Because he's been almost flawless with his decision-making and his accuracy. That's what it is. And people at home, I want you to look very hard at this man across from me right now and ask him, maybe you could tweet him or IG him or however you want to do it, and say, who has tried to send Tom Brady home for 5 straight years on Undisputed? This man has.
No, Coach Belichick tried to also. You get mad at me. Well, what did Coach Belichick do?
He's not in the Hall of Fame. You are.
Oh, he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I guess he will, but not as a player. You were a player. You were a star, a superstar.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
And for 5 straight years, you said that's enough. He needs to go home, right?
Skip. But I was looking at it through the prism of him being in New England and what they had around him. Do you believe he could have prospered like he has the last 2 years if he's still in New England with a broken down junior?
I still think he'd be pretty good.
But he wouldn't be this. Am I correct? That's what the argument is. The argument isn't pretty good. The argument is this.
Okay, but he's 44 years of age. He is shattering the mold of a quarterback's longevity.
But he's already...
No one's come close to doing this. And on the scale of 1 to 10, impressive, you're saying it's a 2. You should... Given the fact that you've tried to send him home, you should say, this is a 9.
No, because he said it himself. Because they can't hit the quarterback, because the league isn't as physical as it once was, he's allowed to do these. He said now he might play till he's 50, 55. Maybe that's tongue-in-cheek, maybe it isn't. But you know the game isn't physical like it once was. No. You know you can't do the things to the receivers and to the quarterback that you once could.
Josh Allen say after his ill-fated quarterback sneak the other night at Tennessee?
Right.
He said, I don't really like to run quarterback sneaks because you really get hit hard on quarterback sneaks. Who's the greatest sneaker ever? Tom Brady, and he's still doing it at 44. When they need a half a yard, he just sneaks it.
Right, but Skip,
and he gets hammered.
But Skip, that's just because you do things. There are a lot. Skip, I didn't like going across the middle because those hits hurt. Because those collisions come in.
They will end your career.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So I didn't like doing it, but it's a part of the game. Skip, all I'm saying is that you look at the talent that he has around him. You look at the offensive line that he has, and they're allowing Tom Brady. Tom Brady is on pace to have more attempts than he's probably had at any point in time in his career. So
it's because you're flaunting what you have. He's the best at it.
Yeah.
He's the best decision maker. He's the best speed reader of a defense. He is the sweetest thrower of the football. I think he's a better thrower of the football than Aaron Rodgers. You say he's the greatest thrower
Don't
ever.
do that.
Well,
so you was doing
seriously.
good. You was doing that. You was having an okay argument.
Doing great.
No.
I'm doing better because I have never seen anyone throw more beautiful, catchable passes more accurately and consistently than Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
But shouldn't the guy that have the most pass attempts have the most passing yards? Isn't that how it equates?
Well, but you can only have the most pass attempts if it works, right?
Skip.
Bruce Arians is saying, we got to throw it, right?
Yeah, he's
They're
throwing it.
5-1, right?
Let me ask you a question.
Is
so
it working?
Where are they
rushing? 1-5?
Yeah, Skip, but hold on. He's 12th in pass attempts. So what does that tell you?
12th in what?
Yards passed per attempt.
Okay.
So that's not like he's throwing the ball like he's going bombs over Baghdad.
Guess who has the most air distance in the entire league? The most the ball has traveled down the field is Tom Brady.
Skip, you don't get it.
Sorry.
Skip, think about that. They put that stat in. So what is that? Guess who has the most fly ball outs in MLB? That ain't nothing to be proud of if he completing it.
I know, but you just said he's got the lowest or one of the lowest yards per attempt.
Yards
right?
per attempt, 12th in yards per attempt.
Okay, well, he's throwing it the farthest. They are bombs away, no risk it, no biscuit.
Let that sink in for just a second, what you just said. You said Tom Brady has the most air distance, but he's 12th in yards per attempt. So in other words, to get 12th with the most air distance is telling you there's a lot of screens, there's a lot of bubble screens, there's a lot of check downs. That's what that tells me.
Sure, he always does that. He's a master of all that. But when it's time to go deep, he can go deep like nobody can. Because you told me back in his final year in New England, I see his arm talent is declining. That's what you told me. I see none. I kept telling you, I don't see a drop off at all. And now we're to 44, and I think his arm's getting actually stronger.
But what you did concede is that he wouldn't be what he is in Tampa, in New England, with that level of talent.
Well, you know what happened? The final year, the cupboard was so bare, they were dead last in the league in what's called separation among their receivers. They had the worst receiving core in pro football his final year. They still made the playoffs, right?
And so now,
that was maybe his greatest achievement.
And so now Tampa has some of the best separation. So you can see what I'm saying, Skip. And see what you want to do. You want to make it all about Tom Brady. You don't want to give Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. You don't want to give those guys any credit. You don't want to give the offensive line. It's all Tom, and it's not.
Are any one of those guys remotely as good right now as Davante Adams is? Because I don't see it.
Skip.
I'm sorry, I don't. Davante Adams is just beasting on this league. I watch him, and he takes my breath away.
You do realize
he is unguardable.
Skip, you do realize there are a 4 or 5 year clip with Antonio Brown with every bit as good, if not better than Davante.
I don't see it anymore. I just don't. I was hoping I would this year, but I don't.
You really, Skip. You think Davante's going to be this in year 11? Or year 12? Of course not.
Well, I don't know, but they said Antonio got his knee cleaned up and that he was running quicker and faster than he has for 5 years.
You watched him, have he? But you got to
not seeing it.
Skip. He can't get the same amount with Mike Evans, with Chris Godwin. He's not going to get the same level of targets. When he was in Pittsburgh and he was the guy and he was getting those targets, Antonio Brown was getting 139 for the catches for a season, 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns. He was Davante Adams before Davante was doing that. A guy that's getting a bunch of targets, putting up incredible numbers.
Okay, they're very good. Mike Evans and Godwin are very good. Antonio is still very good. But they're not Davante. They're not
Skip, that's
D-Hop.
one guy.
They're not
Skip,
D-Hop.
that's one guy.
2 guys.
I would give you that if D-Hop and Davante was on the same team. You got 3 guys. You named 3 guys on one team. You named 1 guy on Green Bay, 1 guy in Arizona, and you say, well, 1 player is not those guys. Tom has 3 of those and Gronk.
Is Gronk still Gronk?
Skip, no. Is he Gronk at his prime? No. But you saw Gronk open tonight. You saw Gronk in the Super Bowl. He can still have those moments. And he has O.J. Howard, who's starting to come in to be what we thought he would be. Cameron Brate is still a good tight end. So, Skip, don't make it my only point I'm trying to make. And maybe it comes off as that I'm minimizing Tom, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm also not trying to minimize the talent that he has around him. And I think that's what you and a lot of other pro football
I'm not minimizing it. No, it's much better than he had his last year in New England.
It's much better than he's ever had at any point in time in his career.
I mean, the Randy Moss Welker year was in the ballpark.
But Skip, but when you think about that, he didn't have
at least you had, with Randy Moss, you had the best.
Right. Okay, but now you got A.B., you got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, you got Gronk, and you still got some other guys, Skip, that's serviceable receivers.
They are.
I can't even remember. Rashae Caldwell, I think, was one of the receivers on that 2017.
Yep.
No, Tom will tell you, player for player, offensive line, he's never had this kind of talent before, Skip.
I agree.
If you take the offensive line, you take the skill positions, he's never had this kind of talent. Now, he's had it, Skip, but I'm saying at one. Now, if you put Corey Dillon on that team with Randy Moss and Wes Welker, or you put Gronk on that team with all those guys, okay, now you got an argument, Skip. You got me dead to right. Because even though now, Tampa, if you had Randy Moss and you had Corey Dillon, you had Gronk, be no question.
Okay.
But look what he has now at this late stage of his career. And we've never seen a quarterback in the later stages of their career have this level of talent.
Okay, I'm just saying you could give a lot of quarterbacks this same talent to at their fingertips, and they would not be able to maximize it the way Brady is right now.
I believe
he's up to 17 touchdown passes. Only Mahomes has more, but Mahomes has 8 interceptions, and Tom's got 3.
Right.
Okay, 1 turnover-worthy throw in 6 games, graded number 1. You got to give it in a little bit. You have to. You give him a 2 on the impressive scale. You at least got to give him a 6.
No, I gave him a 2.
Okay.
Because what you're trying to do is that, see, the higher grade you give him, the lower value you give his supporting cast. And I'm not going to do that. Because I understand what Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and AB are. I understand what Cameron Brake and Gronk and O.J. Howard are. I understand. Now, his running back situation, look, for what they do, they're perfect. Are they Derrick Henry? Are they Dalvin Cook? Are they Alvin Kamara? No, but they don't need them to be. Sometimes we get caught up and say, well, that guy's not that. You don't need him to be that. Derrick Henry need touches. Well, Derrick Henry wouldn't be the same guy in that offense as he is in Tennessee because they're not going to give him those opportunities.
Tom, I got your back, as always. And you know where this guy lives, and the next time you see him, let him know just how out of bounds he has been.
I give the man credit, but you want to give
you don't want to give him no credit.
You don't want to give other guys any credit.
I give him some. I do. I do.
You give very little.
Yeah, well, 2 of them were there with Jameis, and you know what happened. 7 and 9 happened.
And guess what? And both of them went to the Pro Bowl. And Chris Godwin was the number 1 rated receiver.
7 and 9.
Skip. I'm not Skip.
Yep.
There was 7 and 9 with Jameis threw 30 picks. Let that sink in. He cuts that in half, they go to the playoffs. And that's what Tom did. Tom cut it in better than half. I think he had, 12 last year?
Yep.
11. 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And they go to the Super Bowl. That's all Jameis. I'm not saying, Skip, I'm not saying they could have gone to the Super Bowl with Jameis. But I'm saying they could have been a playoff team minus half of those turnovers. You agree with, you believe that.
I do, but you got to give in to this man.
I gave him a 2. I didn't say 0.
44 years
2
old.
is
you gotta
pretty low.
Skip, I didn't give him a 0.
A 2?
Yeah.
You know, 2 is
rude.
even more insulting than 0.
A little rude.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of is.
It just feels more insulting.
No mercy.
LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets were down 23 points in the second half before mounting a huge comeback, eventually beating the Pacers 123-122 last night. LaMelo finished with 31 points, made 7 of 9 threes, and after the game, his coach James Borrego said, quote, he takes his game to another level when he's making shots. Shannon, how big of a star will LaMelo become?
I think he's going to be a superstar. He can score the basketball. He can rebound. He can assist. He can assist the ball. He has that flash. Sometimes, guys can do all these things, but they don't have the pizzazz. They don't have that splash that you look for to be that says, okay, I'm a superstar. I've arrived. Skip, the kid just turned 20 in August.
Yep.
And the thing that sets up really well for him is that his game fit the current NBA system. And so for him, he's going to be a superstar even in Charlotte. LeBron proved that you can be a superstar if you have a talent and you can play at an extremely high level. LeBron was in Cleveland. LeBron James made his name in Cleveland. Yes, he went to Miami to win, and yes, he's in L.A., but the LeBron James that we know and that we love started out his career in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Charlotte.
Okay, remember, Kevin Durant made his name in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Garnett was in Minnesota.
He was.
So,
all right.
Shaq was in Orlando. So, Skip, I believe he can be. I believe he's going to be a superstar. I believe he's going to be an all-star sooner rather than later because he has it. The kids love him. The kids love him.
They do.
And he has he came with an outfit that matched the ride that he showed up in the game in. That's LaMelo Ball. But I'm not surprised. His dad sat here many a day, Skip, and say, my baby boy is going to be better than all of them.
He would say it on and off camera. He would just say, I had one long conversation with him off camera. He said, oh, the young one? Ugh.
Yeah. And I was like, hold on, bro. You do realize the older son is the same number 2 pick in the draft. He said, yeah, but the baby boy going to be better.
Yeah, and the baby boy got to 6 feet 7 inches tall, I believe. I think he's about an inch taller than Lonzo.
I believe so, too, yes.
Lonzo wasn't bad last night.
Right.
They won.
Yeah.
They looked pretty good. They're going to be a pretty good team, actually. So, back to baby brother. I hope you're right about this, and I completely concur with pizzazz, charisma, whipped cream, all that. He's just fun to watch.
Right.
Because he plays so happy to me. He's just in this happy place hooping. That's all he wants to do is hoop, and he's got as short a term memory as you will ever see, because he doesn't, it just, nothing bothers him. He can shoot an air ball. It just doesn't bother him. He can kick it out of bounds. It doesn't bother him because he's going to come right back and make a play. But so far, I am seeing all-star. I give you that. Right. I'm seeing star for sure. I'm not yet seeing superstar because you got to be really special. You got to be able to do some things nobody else can do. Do I think he has a chance to average a triple-double in this league? I do, because at 6'7", he can rebound, and even as a baby rookie last year, he went 16, 6, and 6, and you could just see it coming, where he can stuff that stat sheet every night. Okay, I'm going to remind you, he shot 35% from 3 last year. 35, it's not great. Last night, he made 7 of 9. Was it just a rare LeBron-esque opening night hot streak?
That's...
I'm afraid you're not going to see 7 of 9. Would it change the way they played last night?
Well, how about this, Skip? Can he get to like 38%? Can he shoot? Can he shoot? Yeah. Skip, I think 38% for him and his, because he'll put the ball on the floor and he'll get to the paint. Skip, he's not a sit down in the chair defender, but he got long arms. He'll steal the ball.
He will disrupt.
Yeah,
he will.
And so I think the thing for in the East, Skip, where you don't have the guard play like you have in the West with a Steph and a Chris Paul and a Dame Lillard and a lot of these other guys, I think it's going to be easier for him to get on the big stage in the All-Star game. And then the more people see him. Now, if he can somehow manage to get Charlotte into the playoffs, now we're talking considering how long it's been since Charlotte's been in the playoffs, Skip.
They're in the play-in.
The play-in, but if he can really get them there, Skip.
I got it. And I think he's got a shot.
I think so, too.
Okay, so I know it's a small sample size. It was just opening night, but I watched this entire game because I can't take my eyes off that kid. So they get off to a rocky start, and they fall 23 down, and then here they come in large part because here he came making three-point shots and making dipsy-doodle plays and passes where you say, whoa, that's special. And it got to be a basketball game down the stretch, nip-tuck. And so I yelled for my wife, Ernestine, because she likes LaMelo, but she also likes Gordon Hayward because she thinks he's handsome. Well. That's what she always says. He's handsome. He could be a model. Okay, I give you that. So let's watch the end of the game. So she comes in and watches maybe the last 5 possessions. Would you believe that in the last 5 possessions, LaMelo did not shoot the basketball one time? And if we could see the last 2, one's with 14.6 and then 6.7 left. If we could see, here's the second to last possession. LaMelo's got the ball, and I'm saying, shoot it. And he says, no, I'll give it right back to the veteran. No, I want you to shoot it. And he just comes and picks for him. Then here goes Gordon Hayward. And I'm saying, well, maybe it's LaMelo. And he shoots some dipsy-do shot, and it misses, okay? And then the ball goes crazy. And then here's the final. I believe this is the final possession. Look, I don't want Gordon Hayward to do that. And the ball goes loose, and there's a scrum for it, and P.J. Washington comes up with it. They didn't need to foul P.J. Washington because he's like falling away from the basket. But Miles Turner fouled him. So P.J., to his credit, had done nothing in the game so far. He goes to the free throw line and ices both free throws, which led to Sabonis having the last second shot, and he missed it. Charlotte prevails. Okay, so I'm talking about last 5 possessions, and I called Ernestine in just to watch LaMelo take the game over because I thought he's going to do it. And did you see what's happening? He's just hot potato. He's just like, here, you do it. And it wasn't because he was afraid. He was just deferring to the veteran. Like, you're our superstar. You know, you're our guy.
But eventually, Skip,
I hope so.
They're going to give him the ball and says, okay, LaMelo, you either take the shot or you create a better shot for someone else.
And by the way, do I think LaMelo could have created a better shot than Gordon got in both those cases? Yes, because Gordon got 2 horrendously bad shots that had no chance, and they were lucky to get the offensive I don't even call it a rebound. It was just a loose ball that they got in the 2 free throws. So I'm just showing you he's not there yet.
Right.
It's not like he has a takeover kind of personality. He has not taken the team over just yet.
He's 20, but it's coming.
I got it. But it's his second year.
Yeah.
It's not his rookie year.
Right.
He is coming, but I'm not seeing yet superstar.
No, eventually, Skip, he's going to get there. It's going to take him a while. It's probably take him about 4 or 5 years. Now, he's not going to be Luka like right away. He's not going to be Luka because you could see
Luka played pro basketball since he was like 14
right away. Yeah. But Skip, this kid is coming. He has it all. He has it all. He has it all. And in today's NBA, with the openness of the court, and he can handle the ball well enough, he can shoot it well enough.
Okay, what's the final distinction to me between star and superstar?
What's the ability to close, Skip, for me?
Killer. Yeah. Killer. Does he have that killer, as they say, that dog?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. He's almost like too happy. It's like, hey, come what may, I'll just, whatever happens, happens. I want him, like I wanted him last night, at least on one possession, to say,
it's going to come. I mean, he defers. He's like, okay, Gordon, you the top dog, blase.
Well, he makes the money, and
But they're going to come a time. He goes like, nah, Gordon, come set a pick. Yeah. You come set a pick for me, but I ain't giving you this ball.
No, well, he tried to set a pick for Gordon, which is impressive.
But it's coming. It's coming.
He's deferring when it's over. You don't need to be deferring to Gordon Hayward.
There's going to come a time, Skip. Yeah. You go like, LaMelo, I think you could have got a better shot than that. But I don't want him just jacking up shots because he can.
Yeah.
And especially in that situation. Play your game. But in that situation, he thought Gordon could do a better job of getting to the rim or creating a shot. I got no problem with that, but his day gonna come.
Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Michael Jordan finally got one right.
He got one right.
He got this one right.
And
it's been a long time since he got one right.
That does feel good. I'm happy for him in that sense.
No mercy.
Don't miss your chance to win $25,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money on the Fox Bet Super 6 app, where players have won over $5 million right now. There have been back-to-back Thursday Night Football jackpot winners, and you could be next. So scan the QR code, download the app, and answer 6 questions about the Broncos-Browns game for your shot to win. It is free to play. Don't miss out. Good luck. Win some money. Next up for us, The Athletic released an article about the Cowboys' success playing with 12 personnel, which is 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and 2 receivers. Mike McCarthy has been a fan of 2 tight end sets since his time in Green Bay, and their success rate in yards per play in the formation looks to be leaps and bounds better than anyone else in the league right now. Shannon, you are a Hall of Fame tight end. Why is this so successful?
Because it creates very favorable matchups, Skip. How do you want to play it? Are you going to play it with your base personnel, which means you're going to leave your base personnel, 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 DBs on the field? Or are you going to come in with another big? Or are you going to come in with an extra DB? But, Skip, the thing that we did out of this a lot is that we opened the formation up. So instead of being 1 tight end on one side, 1 tight end on the other side, Mike would split me out. So now, do you really want a linebacker covering Shannon Sharpe? Do you really want your safety dealing one-on-one with Shannon Sharpe?
How much did you use 12 personnel?
We were heavy 12 personnel.
Really?
I would probably say 55, 60% of the time.
So you had 2 tight ends 60% of the time.
Easy. We were heavy 12 personnel.
And who was the usual other tight end?
Dwayne Carswell. Okay. We called him House.
Yeah.
And so, Skip.
Was he more of a blocker
than a catcher?
He
He
was
was more of a blocker, but he could catch the ball. So a lot of people thought of him as a blocker because eventually, Skip, they ended up moving to tackle.
Yep.
So that just lets you know how great, dominating of a blocker that he was. But he was a more than an adequate a guy at tight end that could catch the football. But they could do so many different things with me. And also, Skip, what it allowed you to do is that it gave you better protection against pass rushers.
Yep.
So now there were no short corners. So now it pushed your linebackers even further away from the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So we were protected against the rush, and we gained an advantage on you as far as throwing the football. And if you notice, they throw a lot out of this because you got 2 guys that are very good. So how does the defense? What do they want to do with it, Skip?
Yep.
Do they want to say, you know what, we're gonna play this base? Well, if you play it base, you're asking your linebacker and your safety to deal with these tight ends. These tight ends are very good. They're not. In today's tight ends, there are not very many blockers. Everybody just want to be able to get their tight end, get the favorable matchup. Mm-hmm. So we were heavy, Skip. We were heavy 12 personnel because it allowed me, I was out wide. I would line up with a split in a flex formation in the slot. But we called it tiger personnel, Skip. So when you come on the field, we got the tiger paws up. But the thing was, hey, I love that formation. I love that formation. O'Shea made his name, cut his teeth in that formation.
Okay, guess what? I love it too.
I bet you do.
Guess what? It has changed life in Dallas, Texas for the moment. Now, will people start to figure this out and even the playing field?
But that's the thing, though, Skip. How are you going to play it?
Yep, I got it. So here's what's shockingly amazing about this. We went into this season ahead of Dallas having to go to the GOAT, to Tampa Bay on opening Thursday night. The debate was, did the Dallas Cowboys now have the 3 best receivers in pro football?
Right.
Are their 3 maybe even a little better than Brady's 3? That was the debate.
Right.
And right on schedule, what happens? A Cowboy thing happens. As you say, Cowboys do Cowboy things. Opening night, they nearly won, but they didn't, and they lost one of their 3.
Right.
Michael Gallup is down, and he's out with a pulled or torn calf.
Right.
He's still not even scheduled to practice as we speak, which scares me to death about Dak's calf, but that's a whole nother issue. We'll wait on until next week to see how it starts to unfold. But the point is, all of a sudden, I don't have the 3 best receivers in pro football, and I'm thinking, I'm in trouble. Here we go again. Not meant to be. And they fall into 12 personnel.
Right.
Almost because they say, well, we don't have any other choice. They're starting to use Cedric Wilson, who's been way better than I thought as a slot receiver, but not always.
Right.
Most of the time, they're going with the 2 tight ends. Well, is either one of those tight ends a Kelsey or a Kittle?
No.
Are we talking about a Gronk or a Shannon Sharpe? No, we're not. We're talking about an undrafted free agent once upon a time in Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz, who was a 4th-round pick out of Stanford. They're both pretty good, but they're not life changers, right?
Right.
But if you put both of them in together, and they use them differently, they're like joined at the hip a lot of times, where they'll line them up kind of hip to hip off the tackle, and now you have to commit pre-snap to the box. What if both these guys do decide to block? What if Zeke is running downhill behind both those 2 guys off the tackle? And with Zach Martin at left guard, right?
Yes.
Well, all of a sudden you're like, we better start loading the box a little bit here.
And plus, Skip, it allows you to identify what they're playing man or zone. Because if you split Shannon Sharpe out and they walk a safety, they walk a linebacker, that's man coverage. If they leave it like it is, more times than not, it's going to be zone. So it allows you to dictate what they're going to do coverage-wise. Because now I know what you're in because I can see how you're playing my tight ends.
Okay. So not only are they utilizing this, they are flat out dominating with it. And I don't want to get too X and O heavy here because people just check out on this. But just so you understand what's happening right now, in this football season through 6 games, other teams are averaging 82 yards a game in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. 82 yards. Dallas is averaging 165 yards, by far the most in the league, with 2 tight ends. On rushing the football, other teams are averaging 37 yards per game running the football with 2 tight ends. Dallas is it's at 91. It's like almost 100 yards a game rushing out of 2 tight ends. And as Bob Sturm writes in The Athletic, that is an insane brand of dominance. They're just dominating. And just don't lose sight of the fact that going 12 personnel heavy, 2 tight end heavy at New England against the great Bill Belichick, the mastermind, the guru, the greatest defensive coach ever, they put it, I know they had an overtime, but they had 500 yards in regulation. They wound up with 567 total yards against Bill Belichick. And Dak obviously threw for 445. And much of it was 2 tight end heavy. Something is going on, and we fell into it. It's like heavens opened and let there be 2 tight ends. Because there's no way. If Gallup stayed healthy, they're not going to go 2 tight end heavy.
And sometimes, like you said, you stumble into it. Mike felt that our best, we was a lot of 21 Skip because we did have a fullback. Howard Griffin did a very good job of blocking for us. But Mike just felt that was another way for us to be able to dictate what they were going to do.
We have a fullback. We never use a fullback. We just don't.
We use grip. But it was a way, Skip, because like I said, I lined up at the end of the line of scrimmage a lot, but Mike didn't have a problem putting me out wide and let me run routes. Just like he would ask Rod and Ed to run routes. And so we could dictate what we wanted you to do, how are you going to do it? We go double tight, Skip, and TD, we balance it up. You didn't know. We run it left, we run it right. Okay, they're going to run the ball. Which way, though?
Okay. So thanks to two tight ends, neither of which will remotely make the Pro Bowl. I don't think they'll ever make a Pro Bowl. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I doubt it. Thanks to those two guys, undrafted, fourth round, we have the most explosive offense in pro football as we speak.
And you see a lot of time on third down, he's throwing the ball to Schultz. He's throwing the ball to...
He loves to throw it to him. He's like his security blanket.
Yeah, that's a very... I'm surprised more teams, but you do need... you need guys that can, that can go down the field and get down the field in a hurry and cause matchup problems. But House was a dominating blocker. I mean, it was like we put an extra offensive lineman on the field. But he could still, he get you 2 or 3 catches a game if needed.
So bottom line, thanks to two tight ends, one Hall of Fame tight end is in trouble this year. He's going to have to eat lots of crow, and he's going to lose lots of diet dew thanks to two tight ends who will never even sniff the Hall of Fame.
That's
Thank you.
You're just going to leave it on that note?
That ain't going to happen. That old Tom Terrific going to come through for me.
Tom Terrific. Now you're a fan of Tom.
Who was that? Tom Brady.
How?
He's going to keep y'all out of the Super Bowl.
The Sixers.
Yeah.
Could happen.
And Matthew Stafford, too.
All I care is about the East.
And Kyler Murray down.
Yeah. The East is over, you concede?
Nah. I'm going to see after next week. It might be next week. I might have to wait a little white flag.
Okay, after next week, I'm going to hold you to it.
No mercy.
Start Saturday strong with America's favorite pregame, big noon kickoff. Then the 6th-ranked Michigan Wolverines look to continue their unbeaten season against the pesky Northwestern Wildcats. In the big noon Saturday game of the week, it all starts Saturday morning at 10 Eastern on Fox and streaming on the Fox Sports app. I'll be visiting Ann Arbor for the first of a couple trips this season. Looking forward to it. Well, guys, after throwing Ben Simmons out of practice Tuesday, Doc Rivers admitted the drama took away the fun of opening day. But the Sixers apparently had a team dinner in New Orleans that had some of the tension surrounding the team, and Philly responded well, blowing out the Pelicans 117-97 last night. First things first, co-host Chris Broussard joins us now. Chris, will Simmons ever play for the Sixers again?
I know the common answer out there is no, but this is obviously tough to call. As all of us said about a month ago, this is the ultimate game of chicken. And I know that Ben Simmons is dug in, that he will never play for the 76ers again. The problem is Daryl Morey, the GM in Philadelphia, he's just as dug in. And Daryl Morey is like, I am not trading him for 25 cents on the dollar. In fact, Morey right now, he's not even trying to get $1 for $1. He's trying to get $1.50 and give you $1. All right, so he's got a long way to go before he's willing to trade Ben Simmons for the type of offers that are out there. So when you've got two sides that are this dug in, I would go with the side that has the most leverage, and I think that's Philadelphia. So I'm going to say he will have to play for them again at some point, unless somehow they get an equal deal or, a good deal that Philadelphia is willing to do before he's traded. But I don't see that type of deal manifesting itself. Damian Lillard, like right now, Daryl Morey wants Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal. Washington looked pretty good last night with Bradley Beal. Dame Dollar has said, I'm staying in Portland. And I think that's where his heart's always been. Like, win or lose, I'm here. This is my team. This is my town. Yep. I'm going to go for it here. So I don't think that Morey will just move him out of pressure. And, Ben has already shown that he will crack before Daryl Morey because he said he would never, or the reports were he would never go to training camp. And lo and behold, he's there at training camp. All right, and so we have to remember this. Ben Simmons, yes, he's in the first year or now the second year of a 5-year, $177 million deal. But his first 4 years in the league, guys, he made between $6 and $8 million a year. Obviously good money, but not relatively speaking, right? He didn't get, he's just in that big contract. So last year was the only year he got the $30 million. So that's why this money, whereas a Kyrie Irving can say, I'll let the $17 million go. I don't know that Ben's willing to do that, understandably, because he hadn't really collected all of the bag yet. And so they've got the leverage in Philly, and I think at this point, Daryl Morey is willing to use it. The other thing is, we saw last night, look, beating New Orleans, especially without Zion, is no big deal. But the Sixers, what if they start 6-2, 9-3? And last night, they're not better without Ben Simmons. But they got 42 points and 10 assists from the point guard position. Between Tyrese Maxey and the Ferkman Korkmaz was kind of filling in at point guard. And he had 22 and 5. And so I think the leverage swings even more in Philly's favor if they somehow are playing well and winning a lot of games without Ben Simmons.
I got a better question for you, Chris. Why would you want him back? After all that he said, after all that you've said, why would you want him there? I understand about the team dinner and trying to ease the tension, but how do you get the elephant out the room if the elephant isn't there in the room with you? What are you celebrating? The problem, the person that's causing the issue or the person that has the problem is in Philly. So what happens when you get back to Philly and he's at a game? Do you want? I don't want a situation where he did with James Harden, because I think James Harden at point last year he just gave up and said, you know what, I'm gonna go out here, but y'all can tell by my body language I'm not playing hard. I don't think anybody wins in that situation, especially the player. The player looks bad because, fans are normally going to side. The fans will always side with the owners. I don't know how the owners have been able to convince the fans that they're always in the right and the player's always in the wrong, even though they trade players, but a player can't request a trade. So for me, Chris and Skip, I just don't get why you would want him back, knowing he doesn't want to be back, knowing your star player, Joel Embiid, doesn't want him back, knowing that Ben Simmons does not like Joel Embiid, and I'm not so sure that he trusts Doc Rivers and what he's telling him. So for me, I would just go ahead and move him to get to have, you talk about ease the tension, Skip, and it made it all of a sudden enjoyable again. Well, just imagine how enjoyable it would be if Ben Simmons is no longer there. I think everybody wins in the end in that situation. And I know it's hard because you're never going to get equal value back. You're not. They don't normally trade superstar for superstar. You don't normally trade a Dame Lillard for a Ben Simmons or a Bradley Beal for a Ben Simmons. Normally you got to take draft picks and a tier lower player for a guy of this caliber. So for me, I just think the longer this goes on, it's not going to end well for either party because, Ben's going to end up bucking again. Get in there, Ben. You're going to be practicing. You're going to have a jersey in his pocket. Pretty soon he might whip out a flip phone. Yeah, man, Doc got me in here going through these practices. I'm just going through the motion, man. I ain't feeling it like that.
I am with Chris Broussard on everything he just said because it's basically what I told you earlier in the show. I believe it's now advantage Sixers. I believe the leverage has now eked over to Philadelphia's management and goes all the way to Josh Harris at the top of ownership. They are at least as dug in as Ben is at this point. And I believe that last night, albeit in New Orleans against a team without Zion, it was a big deal that on body language, the Sixers showed you we don't need him. I also think it showed you we don't even want him here because the dinner, you said the elephant in the room. Well, the reason it was such a happy dinner, team bonding, is that the elephant wasn't in the room.
Exactly.
Okay? So the point was they sort of cleared their own heads and air without him, but he's going to have little to no choice but to come back and try to regain his value in the eyes of other GMs, as Chris pointed out yesterday. Big issues about him. Does still have the free throw demons, right?
You know what?
So you want to drive the car before you buy it. Well, he's got to go show you it still runs, like it still goes.
You know what, Chris? You know what? I'm going to agree with you guys. If I'm Ben Simmons, I'm coming back. Y'all want your boy to shoot threes? I'm letting them threes go like Spice Adams. Wop, wop. Why I'm letting 30-footers go left and right?
Well, you know what? That might be a good thing.
You know what I'm saying, Chris Broussard? After I shoot about 3 or 4 of these old Spice Adam threes, clang nothing but backboard, Doc go call timeout, Ben come sit down by me. Okay.
I've seen a bunch of videos, off-season videos. He swishes.
Yeah, I ain't trying to swish.
Okay.
I ain't trying to swish.
Oh, so you're going to try to sabotage?
No, Skip. No, somebody else going to get this good loving. Oh. You didn't want me. You already told me you didn't want me anymore. So somebody else going to get all my love and affection. Okay. So somebody else going to get these threes I've been practicing on.
Okay, remember, you're going to have to play your way out of Philadelphia. You can't act your way out, because if you try to act your way out, you're going to make yourself untradeable, because nobody is going to want a bad actor on their team.
Hey, Rich, tell them I'm just doing this so I can get out. But let me ask you a question. Chris, hold on. They play tomorrow night. They play the Nets. In the starting lineup, a 6'10" from LSU, Ben Simmons. What type of ovation you think he's going to get at home, Chris?
Oh, it'll be bad. I mean, it will be bad. And I don't think Ben can handle that.
No!
I really don't. I mean, everybody I've talked to in Philly thinks the fans there are going to crush him.
They are.
Unless, he makes amends beforehand. And I don't think, we saw him crack mentally last year in the playoffs. And throughout his career, he hasn't gotten over the mental block to at least try jump shots. And so that would be crushing. I don't even think that's good for Philadelphia. Like the organization, as much as they want to win this thing, I don't think that's good for them to have Ben go out there and get booed to no end. So, Shannon, you asked why would Philadelphia want him back, and I get it. If I'm Joel Embiid, even if I'm Doc Rivers at this point, I'm probably saying, if we can get a good player for Ben, let's do it. But Daryl Morey looks at Ben, and I hate this language, but he looks at him as an asset. And Daryl doesn't want to get rid of that asset without getting a good return. That's it. I think at this point, that's all it is. I'm not going to get rid of this who can bring me back good things until I can get those good pieces. And so, and then, look, I think maybe the move for Ben, I hate to say this, might be to fake an injury. That probably should have been the move rather than to act up. And I don't know if you could do it. If I'm Philadelphia and he fakes an injury, I'm challenging it. I'm going to the league like, look, we don't think he's hurt. Our doctors say he's not hurt.
My feelings. You can't
and we don't want to pay him.
Well, my feelings hurt, Chris Broussard. You can't mention where the MRI going to tell you how my feelings. You ain't got no MRI. That's what I'm doing, Skip. I'm getting up out of here.
I got one last question for you. Who was the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference 1 year ago?
The Sixers.
The Sixers. How did that happen? It worked. Yeah. They coexisted. I don't know how. That's what management is hanging on to.
You know what you just said? You said he had ED on the end of that, didn't he, Chris? He said it worked. It's no longer working. It's no longer salvageable.
You sound like you work for Clutch Sports.
There you go. You see?
I think you do work for Clutch Sports, actually.
Side gig? No, you're too busy. You're way too
Everyone cuts the checks over here.
You don't have
Clutch
time
boy,
for that.
they cut no checks.
I don't know about that.
No mercy.
According to Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron doesn't have to win another title to become the GOAT. All the king simply has to do is pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the NBA's all-time leading scorer to go with the 4 championships he's already got. And Shaq said he'll be cemented as, quote, the best player ever. That's a quote. That's a quote from Shaq.
Goat man.
Chris Broussard still with us. Chris, how important will breaking this record be in the never-ending GOAT debate?
Go, man.
Well, Jen, let me give a little context first, all right? The great and quote-worthy Shaquille O'Neal, I believe, has at various times said Michael Jordan's the GOAT, Kobe Bryant's the GOAT, and now LeBron James will be, right? I remember he certainly said Jordan. I remember in the early 2000s, covering the league, he was saying Kobe is the best player he's ever seen. I went up to Shaq. And as I said, you've been saying this, what about Michael? And he said, what about him? And then later on, he says, Jordan's the GOAT. So Shaq is saying all these guys are the greatest. So, but as far as the argument for LeBron, for me, and I've got LeBron second to Michael. I got Michael as the GOAT. this record is nice, but it won't shift my thinking because that's not how we work. That's not how we judge who's the GOAT in these leagues. It's not a longevity award. And that's what this record is. Like right now, Kareem is the all-time leading scorer and third all-time in rebounds. All right, LeBron's gonna, if he's the all-time leading scorer, he's not gonna be third in assists. All right, should probably be top 5, but not third in assists. So, but Kareem's got that, plus he's got as many rings as Michael and 2 more than LeBron. He's got more MVPs than anyone else, including Michael. And we still, for the most part, don't view Kareem as the GOAT. You go to other sports, Emmitt Smith, great, obviously all-time great. Does anybody think he's the greatest running back of all time, even though he's all-time leading rusher? And Hank Aaron, before Barry Bonds, was the home run king, but it was a longevity thing. And we love Hank Aaron, he's all-time great, but I don't think anybody thought he was the greatest baseball player ever. So to me, that is my line of thinking. It won't switch what I think about LeBron being better than Jordan. But I get it for those that want to argue it because a big argument, Shannon, for LeBron is the longevity argument. That's going to, like those that want to promote LeBron as the GOAT, that's going to be your go-to is look at all these records he's got because of his longevity.
But even if you take away the longevity, is that LeBron has played at such a supremely high level. I mean, LeBron has more All-NBA than Jordan has seasons played. And you talk about a guy that's probably going to be a starter again, so this will be his 18th consecutive start in the All-Star game. He's been an All-NBA. He's a 13-time first-team All-NBA player. Nobody has more than, 11? So when you look at the totality in the body of work, and see, I'm with you, Chris. I believe whatever camp you're in, you're not packing up your stuff and going to someone else's camp. So if you believe Jordan is the GOAT, he's the GOAT. If you believe LeBron is the GOAT, LeBron is the GOAT. I don't believe Shaq saying what he's saying is going to change a whole lot of people's mind. If anything, I don't believe he's going to change anybody's mind because I believe everybody's dug in. Everybody's dug their trenches. Everybody's set up their tent, set up shop, whatever term, cliche you want to use. I believe they are where they are, Skip, and they're not leaving that. So for me, I believe LeBron is the GOAT. I believe he did Mondo Duplantis. He pole vaulted over 20 feet tall, high, to get over GOAT Jordan. And so now it's GOAT James. GOAT James is where it's at. And guess what? We're going to have five MVPs, all-time leading scorer, another first-team All-NBA, 40,000 points, 10,000 assists, and when it's all said and done, and when it's time to give the benediction, you already know how it ends, Chris. We go home and have us a nice meal.
The benediction was given in Chicago, Illinois. That's when it was over.
No.
Thank you, Lord. It's over.
It might have been that. But when he went and got me them 2 years in Washington, that was what we needed.
So as much as I love and respect Shaquille O'Neal, what just came out of his mouth about why LeBron could be the GOAT is Asa 9, Asa 10, Asa 11, Asa 23, as in the one and only 23.
There's no one and only.
Michael Jordan. There's one. It was the original. It's that guy. The other guy is the phony GOAT. I'll give you phony GOAT. But you realize Shaquille O'Neal is now basing his entire case for GOATness on all-time scoring title. That will put LeBron over the top. I am so with Chris Broussard. I respect it. I respect that LeBron has all-time great talent, but it's a longevity achievement. Michael won 10 scoring titles to LeBron's 1. That's all you need to know. Michael went to 6 finals and went 6-0 with 6 MVPs. That's all you need to know. Case is closed.
No, it ain't no case closed.
It's completely closed. And it's won me a whole lot of cases of Diet Mountain Dew because it's clear who the GOAT is.
Well, if Kevin Durant didn't go to Golden State, we'd have 2 more rings.
No, would you? Well, yeah. He went. And he shut you down in your own house twice in 2 game 3s. And he was the finals MVP because he's the best player on the planet. So all you need to know for you people out there with semi-open minds instead of you billions of blind witnesses out there, all you need to know is that, wait a second, LeBron has already played over 9,000 more minutes than Michael played. LeBron has already played 239 more games than Michael played and counting. He's going to go for another 3 years.
You do realize LeBron is heading into year 19 and Jordan only played 15 years. And you said
he really only played 11 full real years.
Man, I ain't talking about no 11 he played. No, he got credit for those.
Because he was hurt 2 of the years.
That is correct.
He was hurt the 1 year, second year with the Bulls, and then the baseball year.
Yep.
He came back and played, 18 games?
Did he get credit? Yep. Did he get credit for those years, that year that he got hurt? Did he get credit? Was that an accredited NBA season, Chris Broussard?
He got credit for about 18 games.
Okay.
18 games. And then he vaulted right out of 18 games into getting called God disguised as Michael Jordan, right? In game number 1 at Boston Garden against Larry Bird. He came right off the injury and did that.
You see what y'all do, Chris? When have we ever put so much emphasis on a guy losing? Michael Jordan lost when he scored 63. When Kevin Durant's foot was on the line, they lost the game. But let LeBron do anything. Well, he not a closer. He couldn't finish the game. Why is that the way, Skip? Just I didn't even know why is it that way.
Well, it's just the truth.
That ain't no truth. He lost.
Okay.
You do realize he got swept in that series.
Okay, but he had no help at all because that was a bad team. That was a sub-500 team that did that.
LeBron James went to the finals.
And Shannon.
Go ahead.
He was doing it against the team some people think was the greatest single-season team ever.
But hold on.
Right, the 86
the 86 Celtics. Yes. Hold on. But Skip Bayless' argument, if you're the GOAT, you win that. Because that's what he said, that LeBron James is the GOAT. He got to beat the Spurs in 07.
Well, wait a second. He was the baby GOAT. He was in year 2. It was really still like an extension of his rookie year because he didn't even play in year 2 until the very end of the season.
That's my argument. You said, Chris, he didn't have any help. So what help did LeBron have when he went against the Spurs and they got swept? What help did he have?
What year was he?
Who?
LeBron. That year wasn't his 5th year? Fourth year. Okay.
Skip, the man was 22.
Aren't you GOAT enough in year 4 that you can at least win one game?
The man was, you see that, Chris? The man was 22.
I don't hold, look, Shannon, I'm with you on that. I don't hold that against it. Let me ask you this, though, Shannon.
Yes.
Because at some point, the longevity argument can also work against you. Because LeBron, there's no doubt he has played at the highest level for the longest time, right? Jordan's peak was higher. I think both individually and obviously winning. But LeBron's done it longer. But at a certain point, you get to, okay, you had 19 years at a high level, but only got 4 rings.
Thank you.
Right? And Skip said only led the league in scoring once, led the league in assists once.
Good point.
You know, so at some point, does it begin? Jordan, 6 rings in 11 years is how I look at it. Maybe you can go 13 if you want.
Yeah.
But 6 rings in that smaller period of time. So at some point, that's why LeBron needs to get this ring. Because 5 and 19 looks better than 4 and 19.
But it seems to me that you guys rewarded Jordan for not even making the finals. Because so you better say it's better for him to lose in the first round than get to the NBA finals and lose. So you've rewarded Michael Jordan for not even making the finals, but you punished LeBron for making the finals.
Shannon, if he'd been allowed to play those 2 middle years, he would have won, 8 in a row. He was 8 in a row.
No, we can't say that. There's no definitive way to prove that.
You know and I know that would
But
have
Chris, so was he allowed to play 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, and 90? Was he allowed to play those years? So what excuse do we have for him not making the finals then?
No, I don't excuse it, but I don't hold it against LeBron that he lost 6 times in the finals. But I'm just saying Jordan is just better
6 losses?
For a lot of reasons.
The debate continues. The debate continues. We'll save it for another day.
No mercy.
Tomorrow, the ALCS heads back to Houston, where the Astros are 1 win away from punching their ticket to the World Series, while the Red Sox fight to stave off elimination. Coverage of ALCS Game 6 begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Damian Lillard couldn't deliver in Chauncey Billups' head coaching debut for the Trail Blazers as Portland fell 124-121 to Sacramento. Dame went 0 for 9 from 3, including the potential game-tying shot with 1 second left. And meanwhile, on the East Coast, Jason Tatum shot 2 for 15 from 3 and 7 for 30 overall as his Celtics fell to the Knicks in double overtime. 138, 134, but it was quite a game. Shannon, who had the worst game? Tatum.
Yeah, both of them played terrible. I think both of these could be considered one of their worst games, if not the worst games of their
you
career.
Make that case.
But I'm gonna say Tatum, Skip, 7 of 30. The dude took more field goals than he had points. At least Dame was. Dame was 8 of 24, had 20 points, and Dame had more field goals than he had points, or 9. But 2 of 15 from 3, 7 of 30. Mm-hmm. So the Tatum took 6 more shots and had a less field goal. Missed 13 threes. Yeah, turned the ball over more, had fewer assists. This is the game that Dame would love to have back. Both guys would love to have it back. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say Tatum in this situation. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy go 7 of 30 and 2 of 15 from the 3.
Remember, it went 2 overtime.
Yeah.
So I watched that game, and it was a barn burner.
Right.
Both teams hit the wall in the second overtime, and nobody could make a shot. But Jason Tatum is supposed to be that guy for the Celtics.
Right.
And to me, he's had his moments, but he's never actually become a made man as a superstar for the Boston Celtics. It's why they went and got Kyrie, and that failed. And in this case, you're waiting on Jason Tatum to become what the late, great Kobe Bryant wanted him to be, is a superstar.
Well, Skip, you saw him last year, Skip, drop 50 against the Nets in the playoff game.
He can have those moments.
Yes.
I got it. But this was one of those games where you just need him to make a shot.
Right.
One shot here or there. By the way, your man Schroeder, late of the Lakers, he had a couple of shots in the first overtime, into regulation, first overtime, that could have won the game, and he gagged both of them. Yeah, and so in this case, I admired Jason because at least he kept firing. He just kept firing and firing to nowhere.
Kobe would be proud of it.
He would have been proud. It was Kobe Memorial on that, just on having the sheer courage and the pride just to keep shooting. Right. But the point was, it was no shame to lose to the Knicks on opening night at the Garden with Spike front and center and a lot of celebrities in the crowd. And yet for Dame, it's a little worse to me because what do we always hear? It's Dame time, right?
Yeah.
This was Chauncey, your man Chauncey Billups, my man Chauncey Billups. This was his opening night. This was his first soiree as a head coach into the NBA, right? And what happened? Well, CJ was sensational.
Yes.
CJ gave him 34, and Nurkic was pretty good with 20 and 14, but Dame goes 0 for 9, and Dame misses the shot, the late shot, to win the game. Right. And meanwhile, Harrison Barnes goes berserk for Sacramento and makes 8 of 11 threes and gives them 36. But remember, Portland lost at home to Sacramento because it was not Dame time. It was sack time, right?
Yes. And, De'Aaron Fox. Skip, the Kings might be a little sneaky team here.
They could be.
They could be a little sneaky.
But I say that every year, and I look at them, and then it never
materialized.
It sneaks off into the shadows, right?
But they got a guy, De'Aaron Fox, at any given night, Skip, he can go get you 40.
I got it.
That joker cat quick. Harrison Barnes will have a game here or there.
And the man you should have traded for, Buddy Hield, he just comes off the bench and just in his sleep, he makes 4 of 7 threes, and you could have had him. You had the deal.
What you want me to do, Skip? I'm not the GM.
Yep. Well, LeBron is. LeBron could have had him, and LeBron said, no, I think I want to go marquee star power. I want Russ.
Yes.
I want to show the world I can win with Russ when KD couldn't, and Kawhi didn't want him, and Paul George and James, they couldn't win with him.
We are not going to beat up on Russ after the first game.
Okay.
We're going to go home, watch a comedy,
Watch a comedy.
Well, I watched Netflix.
I watched a comedy. It was called The Game. Right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. You try to make it seem like it was the Keystone Cops or something.
Okay. So I always tell you, Dame is not that guy either.
Dame is. Don't do that, Skip.
He's not a superstar.
No, Skip, don't do that. Why would you do that?
Gold medal Olympic game. He's got 2 to clinch, 2 free throws.
Skip, you see that man that hit big shot after big shot. You've seen him do it.
Here and there, and then when it's time to win one for Chauncey, which made me wonder, does he really want to play in Portland?
He want to be there.
Does he want to be there for Chauncey or not?
He said that
0 for 9?
Skip, it happened. Yep. He said he won. Skip, we just saw Steph Curry said he played like trash. He was 5 of 21. Yep. It just so happens his team won. It happened.
Maybe it's just going around, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, come on. The likelihood in back-to-back night, Dame would be shooting this poorly and Steph Curry to shoot that poorly the night before.
Well, it did make me wonder. Does he want to be in Philadelphia?
Didn't he just tell you he wanted to be in Portland because of Chauncey, and that's the reason he wants to be there? He told you that.
Okay, here we go.
But we'll take him in
I need to
We
see
just
some
started
Dame
the
time.
season. We just started. We'll give him a little second.
Man, nobody want to see that G-Shock you got on over there.
No mercy.
Case Keenum set to start for the Browns tonight as Baker Mayfield is being held out with an injury. The journeyman QB is embracing the spotlight during Thursday Night Football on Fox, saying, quote, "I am built for this." And meanwhile, like Colin mentioned, Baker will reportedly need off-season surgery on the torn labrum and his non-throwing shoulder, an injury that is only going to get worse with the more damage it takes during the year. So, Skip, are you ready to give up on your AFC Super Bowl pick?
It's getting late early in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I am not quite ready to give up because I'm hoping Case Keenum can go Minnesota Miracle on your Broncos tonight on Thursday Night Football. But Baker is going to need surgery. And beyond the labrum, his shoulder keeps popping out of place every other play. So how can I hope that he can be even a semblance of Baker Mayfield? They're down both tackles. They're down both running backs. They're down Jarvis. Odell might not even play tonight, and the defense is in shambles. So I don't have high hopes.
This is a game the Broncos better win, and they should win, or Coach Fangio is going to be in trouble.
True. I would
With
agree.
all the absences that they have on Cleveland's side of the football, this is a game they need to win, and I'm looking for Von Miller to be Defensive Player of the Year. He needs to get back to being that
Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, he
might
needs
be
to have
of
that
the
type
week.
of game. Yeah, he needs to have that type of a game, Skip, to put his imprint on it. So I'm expecting him. Case Keenum, do what you did for the Broncos.
We'll be all over it tomorrow. Skip, Shannon, good stuff. Heard us now. Have a good one.